Superintendent Raymond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, other committee members. I'm really pleased to be here this morning representing Sacramento's 47,000 children. I too have a personal vignette. This morning, while sitting at breakfast, I told my wife that I had been invited to testify this morning, but that after the panel heard what I would say, I probably wouldn't be invited back. And she said, well, it isn't your job to be invited back, at which point my 5-year-old said, Daddy, remember, you came here for the kids. I'm relatively new to California. Only I'm in my third year as superintendent. I came from the East Coast, and I have to say, and I have to be honest with you today, I don't understand. California, the Golden State, now ranks 47th in overall spending for per student for education. I'm not proud of the fact that we have beaten 3 states. My home state, where I was born, in fact, my colleague to my right as well, Massachusetts. I was back there in October, and I was listening to the Commissioner of Education, akin to our state superintendent of public instruction, and he was lamenting to a group of educators that they are now down to, on average, $13,000 per student. Imagine $13,000. Our children today, the very faces of America, and I would agree with my colleague, we are the future of America and the world. We're competing with states like Massachusetts as well as globally, and yet look at what we're up against. And I know with my colleagues here, you give us half of that amount, and we'll put Massachusetts and other states in our rearview mirror. The reforms, we're doing so much with so little, and I think in many ways we have become our own worst enemy because that's what we do. We make things work. But imagine if half of your budget, or at least a little over a third, which is in the case in Sacramento, doesn't come till after July 1st. That's what the reality is. $60 million we are owed. In fact, that takes care of not only our deficit, but it takes care of our spending for new programs. The cost of having to borrow, which we will again this year, about $70 million just to make and meet our payroll, will be $800,000. I mean, that's librarians and teachers and counselors and music and art and parts of athletics. The things that you took for granted, that I took for granted in school. Imagine of the librarian that inspired your love of reading, the PE teacher or the coach that helped you, as I did, get to college. Without it, it wouldn't have happened. Recently, our school board, just 2 weeks ago, to get to our best case scenario, $28 million, we eliminated all of our counselors, all of our librarians. We've eliminated home-to-school transportation. We've eliminated athletics, all of our counselors. We've raised class sizes to the maximum, cut half of our plant managers, half of our custodians, half of our assistant principals. Members of the committee, this is not school. This is not what our children, the very future of our country, our most important investment and assets, this is not what they deserve. And it is up to us, those who are in positions to lead. We must lead. I certainly applaud the governor's proposal. Weighted student formula, as you've heard so much of today, is about providing, first and foremost, equity. It's about providing more resources to those children and those areas of our great state that need it. Equity is not equal, and we should not be funded equally. Transparency, it's important that this very complicated system be changed, and change it must. And I know my colleagues back at the office would hesitate or wonder who I am when I said it's important to sometimes go slow to go fast. But school districts that are implementing weighted student formulas right now are taking the time to do it right. It's very important that we do it right. And the flexibilities that are so crucial are dependent upon accountability, and we must have a robust, holistic accountability model that ensures that with these freedoms and with these flexibilities and the ability to be equitable and transparent, we also have a system that can produce results for children. As my colleague said, special education deserves to be treated equally special. So much of what we do right now encroaches our general fund. We simply do not have the amount of revenue coming from Washington or other streams to do the important critical work we do. Which brings me to a second point. One of the most innovative things that California has done in the last 10 years is transitional kindergarten. And I don't understand for the life of me why we would think about taking that program away. We need to invest in our children at the earliest ages. We know and we understand that those that start behind stay behind. They never get caught up. And all of the research indicates that when we multiply the dropout factor, those that don't graduate with a high school or only a high school degree, this is the most important, significant investment we can make. So to be penny wise or pound foolish, we have to do what we can for our very earliest learners. In Sacramento, we have 5 sites that we have started. The feedback from parents, from teachers, is tremendous. I invite all of you to come out and see one of our sites and see what an important, significant investment this is making. Back on the weighted student formula, I think it's important that we look at the formula, what's in, what's out, how do we weight those. The concentration factor is absolutely essential, but we must also be able to get that right. It's important that we take the time to make sure that what is so important gets rolled out so that it truly does restore us back to a day where I think California can be proud of the investment in public education. For us, tonight it's somewhat ironic because we come back and we look at closing 3 schools. We look at issuing up to 400 pink slips. We simply can't wait. The structure in California doesn't give us that luxury. We have to have a balanced budget into our County Office of Education on March 15th. We have to have layoff notices. So whatever the work is being done now, it's not being done in time to really help us this year. So that's the thing with school districts. We just can't wait. We have to make it work. And the daunting challenges we face of not having all of our revenue, in our case, as I said, 35%, and knowing and not knowing whether we're going to have mid-year cuts or mid-year triggers, it's very difficult. But the business of teaching and learning must go on. I urge you to continue to take this work with the seriousness that you are, to give these proposals thorough consideration because they're beginning to move us in the right direction. And while it's important that we take our time to get it right, I want to make sure that we show the urgency by which we need it. And I thought I would close quickly and just read you a little poem from a book. And the poem was written by a student, and it's called "Whisper in My Heart." Sometimes it's directed more towards superintendents, but I think it's really appropriate for those in our state that are elected to lead. It's entitled "Whisper in My Heart." So it tells me that you're coming, this whisper in my heart. It tells me you're coming to take this place apart. So it tells me that you're brave. It tells me that you're smart. It tells me you'll be strong, this whisper in my heart. So it tells me I deserve you, that I too am smart and strong, and it tells me that you'll save me as these whispers rise to song. So it tells me that you're coming to save me from this fate. I hope that you will hurry. I pray you won't be too late. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Superintendent Raymond. You make a very compelling case for our kids and for reinvesting in our per pupil funding. Massachusetts' loss is clearly California's gain, and I know that you make your 5-year-old very proud. Thank you for being there with us today.